Hi, I'm Charlie Hooper, President of Objective Insights. We're a consulting firm dedicated to providing life science companies with the marketing and financial analysis they need to make informed decisions about their business opportunities. In this series of videos, we'll talk about different aspects of trend-based forecasting and show how to use our short-term forecaster model to make some really good forecasts. So what we're going to do is give a very high-level look at forecasting using the short-term forecaster model. And there are a lot of pieces that we could talk about. We're just going to talk about some background and then the short-term forecaster model. There will be other videos that will talk about the Trend Explorer, the OI Prediction Engine, and the Buying Intensity Index. So in general, what we're doing here is we're doing trend-based forecasting. So we're taking historical data and we're trending it out into the future. And so we're using the short-term forecaster model. And it is a trend and event-based forecasting tool. And it really combines two pieces. It combines the trend or momentum of the product or products that we're looking at, and then other events that are not reflected in the trend for the simple fact that they haven't happened yet, so we have to add them in after the trend has been computed. And an important point here is that we're actually forecasting the whole market. So whatever company products we want to forecast, whatever specific competitive products we want to forecast, we can look at, and then we can also break it out by classes and market totals. And so the short-term forecaster model, it includes Monte Carlo simulation. To develop its trends, it uses the OI Prediction Engine, and it actually calculates everything on a monthly level. It could be rolled up, which can then be rolled up to quarterly and annual forecasts. So here's graphically what's happening. The green line is the historical actual data for this example product, and the blue line is the trend. So if you just took a naive mathematical trend of the green data, you would get the blue line. But once we add in other events, here they're positive events, we end up with a forecast that's the red line. So it's actually above the blue line. And so we're really calculating two forecasts here in the short-term forecaster model, where we consider the base market, which would be the blue line here, and then the final market, which would be the red line. And what's actually happening, if you look at the bottom of this graph, we take historical product sales and market data, and we put it through the OI Prediction Engine, and from that we get industry standard trends. And then, if we have any other events that we want to add, we add assumptions about future market and product events, and those go in through what's called the analytical engine, and together the trend and the other events create the product forecast. So here we have a representation of one of the tabs in the short-term forecaster model, and there are four basic buttons that can be operated to run this model: 0, 1, 2, and 3. And 0 is optional, and what it does is it saves a few of the results from the last forecast to compare with the new forecast to see what's changed. But most of the time, what will be done is just buttons 1 and 2 will be used. So button 1 fetches data from the data repository, and it automatically puts it into this model in the proper place. Button number 2 generates all the trends, and there are actually a number of trends that are calculated in this model. And then 3 is optional also, and it's to run the Monte Carlo simulation. Excuse me. And you'll notice to the right of each of those buttons, there's a time and date stamp for the time that button was last pushed, and for the Monte Carlo button, it also has the number of iterations last used. To the right of that is a color coding scheme so that we try to keep all the certain elements of the model clear by labeling them with certain colors and cell formatting. So on to the next slide. The short-term forecaster model automatically takes data from the Excel-based data repository, and we're going to go through this in much more detail within the model, but just briefly, we look at quantities from which we can determine demand for the product, and then we also looked at shipped units and sales, ex-factory sales and revenues, because that's actually what we're trying to get to for our forecast. And there are monthly weighting factors, they're called buying intensity indices in the model, and we'll talk more about that later. So just a quick list of user inputs. These are all optional, but there's a place in the model for each one of these. So we have future price and gross to net rates. We have trend upper and lower bounds. We have inventory uncertainty factors. We can put in the assumptions to launch a new competitive product or a new company product, and they can be specified through a cannibalization matrix of how they'll interact with the current products on the market. And new products are specified parametrically with a launch date of peak shares, sales from market growth, and then their adoption curve. And then on top of that, we have events that are positively or negatively affect products on the market. And they can affect one product in particular, or they can affect all the products in the class, or some combination in between. And then we have overrides, which we'll talk about in more detail. So we're not going to get into this in great detail, but basically the trend is automatically generated in the model, but it can be specified. The trend parameters can be specified directly if a different type of trend is desired. And there are a number of output statistics so that you can see how well the trend is working, and you can also determine how it's looking at the input data. And we'll get into that more detail in another lecture. So here are just some examples of the graphs that you'll see in the model. Here's a graph of total prescriptions per day, and you can see that number one, there's multiple products that are being forecasted, and each one of these products has a trend associated with it. And this next graph is total prescriptions per month. This is a noisier graph. What we did in the previous graph is that we took out the calendar factors, the noise, to get a good trend. Here we put them back in. Here's just another graph. It's looking at monthly net revenues, and an important point here is those open circles on the graph. Those are the budget or the current forecast that's being compared against. So you can see that this product is actually ahead of budget or ahead of forecast. This next graph is showing the trends for two products in detail, and for each of these you'll notice a few key points. One is that the trend is flattening a little bit. That's because it's damped. And then the other is there's a high end and a low end on the graph. It's a green line and an orange line, and these are the prediction intervals. They're like confidence intervals, but they're in the future, so they're called prediction intervals, and we will talk about those in more detail. The short-term forecaster model forecasts by channel and by unit type. Here's a graph showing that. We'll get into this in more detail. And demand factors are a key way that the forecast is built up from the ground up, and we will talk about these factors in more detail also. And here's another graph showing the two different forecasts. So at the very top we have a blue line with symbols, and that is the base market. That's the product's history plus trend. And then down at the bottom we have a number of events, and if the event is below the axis, it's a negative event, such as new competitor 1, that purple line. And if it's a positive event, it's above the axis, such as that light blue line, new treatment guidelines. And so we have multiple events, some of which can be negative, some of which can be positive. They have an overall effect on the product, and if you look again at the top, we have the final market trend, which is that green line. So it's actually below the base market trend. In other words, the net effect of the events is negative. The short-term forecaster model has Monte Carlo simulation built in, and we're going to talk more about Monte Carlo simulation in another lecture. The outputs to the short-term forecast model are monthly, quarterly, and annual, and they are displayed both in summary tables and in graphs. And there are certain feedback elements to the model. We color code input sections to reduce the chance of error. We flag errors that might happen to prevent, to notify the forecaster to change some inputs to prevent that. And then we also have version control through time and date stamping to let you know who changed a section and when they did it. But here's an example of a Monte Carlo output. And so instead of just showing one forecasting result, here we show the deciles. So we have the lower line, which is the 10% decile, and the higher one, the 90%. In between, we have the 30, 50, 70, and the mean. We'll talk more about that in greater detail in a later tutorial. So the short-term forecaster model has a number of benefits. One is it's easy to use. Most times that it's opened, you're just going to simply import data from the data repository. With one button, you're going to generate trends. And then if you want, you could use another button to run a Monte Carlo simulation and get sensitivity analysis. So you can quickly and accurately generate new trends based on updated market and product data. And if no assumptions change, you can produce an updated forecast in minutes. And if you do need to change assumptions, they're parametric. So let's say a launch date changes by 6 months, you just change the launch date, and then everything, all the calculations flow through. You don't have to go in and manually change market shares and things like that. And the short-term forecaster is built in Excel, so you get to use a whole lot of powerful features that are built into Excel, like, for example, GoalSeek and Solver. And the short-term forecaster is completely transparent. There's no black box here. All the intermediate results are accessible. And if you need to, there's spaces to do side calculations and custom tables. And then also, we can use Excel's trace precedence and trace dependence to aid in debugging and understanding the model. And we can also, if necessary, take results from this model and copy them into other models for further analysis. And further, the short-term forecaster model has 2 decades of design, development, and debugging work into it. It's been used on multiple products at multiple different companies, and so many of the problems and bugs that have already been worked out on somebody else's time. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you.